Greetings friends! Welcome to another one of my slow craft vlogmases and welcome to the weekend. Today I'm going to be doing some knitting with you and I am wearing this old, I was going to call it a jumper but it's not a jumper. I'm wearing this old jacket, cardigan that I made, which is the opposite pole pattern by Joji Locatelli, and I'm wearing it not because it suddenly dropped to freezing cold temperatures again, but because this is the project that I actually want to work on with you today. I have never really been happy with the length of the sleeves on this. Nothing to do with the pattern at all. It is purely because I knit until I completely ran out of yarn. I have none of this blue or red yarn left at all, but the cuffs are short. So I think I want to re-knit it to try to get even just a little bit more length to them, because when I'm wearing this I find that I'm constantly trying to pull it further down and it's just not the most comfortable fit. It is knit in garter stitch, so I'm hoping that just by doing it in stockinette instead, or actually probably reverse stockinette to sort of try to keep the same look, then hopefully that will be enough to just make it feel a little bit more comfortable. So let's get to it. I am back in my knitting chair and the first thing that I have to do is unravel this cuff, and since that needs a fair bit of concentration just to find ends and all of that kind of thing, I am going to do it without talking, and I will possibly speed it up. Also, if the light changes, it's because I've had to turn on my lamp so that I can see what I'm doing, because I think it's generally coming up brighter for you on the screen than it is for me in real life, and this is a dark yarn, so it's a little bit hard to see all the stitches. Alrighty, time to rock and roll. I've pointed my lamp at the wall instead of on my work because it really is quite dark in here and it's very hard to see. So I need a little bit of light, but it looks horrible on camera when I am pointing the light straight down onto my knitting, unfortunately. What am I? Forgot what I was going to say. Was I still talking about lighting? The yarn that I have used to make this jumper, cardigan, sweater, whatever you call it, is Windmills Luxury, I believe it's the 10 ply. And I do, as I said, I used up all of the yarn for this, in these colors, for this cardigan. And I do have a couple of other colors. I have leftovers of other colors still. So one is the orange that I used to make the strap the other day, the crocheted strap, but obviously that just would not go with this at all. And what am I trying to say? The other color that I have is a grey, sort of like a mid to dark grey, which might look alright, but I really don't think it would work to introduce another color into this. One thing that I considered was if I did make this, if I did reknit this cuff and I still did it in garter stitch, then I could stripe it so that the grey is always more visible on the inside, but you would still see it on the outside, and we don't want that. I am knitting this on 2 circulars because these are the smallest that I have, and they are still too big to really go around. Oh, don't want that. That's better. They're still too big to knit this fully in the round, and I've been finding lately that for small circumferences, I think 2 circulars is kind of the easiest for me to work. And it's kind of interesting because there was a time in my knitting life where I did lots of things using 2 circulars. I think I might have even done it when I was knitting socks 2 at a time, magic loop style. I have a feeling that there was even a time where I was trying to, or not trying to, where I did knit that using 2 circulars, and to me now that is just, there's just so much going on there, and it's just too fiddly and too clunky. So I find it kind of interesting that I used to do 2 circulars, and then I found it really uncomfortable and inefficient to work for a long time, and now I've gone back to it. So just kind of interesting to see how knitting styles and knitting preferences can change over time. I wish I had measured the length of this cuff before I undid it, but I guess I have the other cuff to compare. I'm starting with the right hand cuff because if it doesn't lengthen it enough for it to be worth doing it to the left hand cuff, then at least the left hand cuff stops at a semi-convenient point. It stops at a point where it's just short of my watch, and sometimes it is annoying to see how to have the knitting of a fitted cuff stretch out over such a chunky watch. So the left, depending how this goes, the left cuff will possibly just be shorter than the right cuff. We shall see. I'm kind of skeptical that doing this in reverse stockinette stitch will actually add enough length for me. I've positioned the camera a little bit differently today. I've tried to put it at a spot where it is a little bit more from my point of view. It's slightly in the way of my vision, but it's not as bad as when I wear my neck mount. I have you know those neck lights, those neck lights that you see a lot of knitters use, and people use it for reading and other sorts of things as well, but it's kind of like a bendy, flexible, headbandy looking thing, but you wear it around your neck and it points 2 lights down into where you're working. I do have one of those, and I should test that at some point to see if it works for situations like this, because it has different light temperatures. And the lamp that I'm using at the moment is just like an IKEA LED one. I wonder if the camera would actually handle any of those other color temperatures from that neck light better. I'll have to test it out. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. What was I saying? Oh yes, I have like a neck thing like that, but that has a camera mount attached to it. And I have used that for filming other things that I am working on when I'm sitting on the chair or just whatever. I have used it, but when I have used it for crafting, it gets in the way a little bit more, and I find that I have to sort of crane my head to the side so that I can see what I'm doing, because the camera is positioned like here, because it's sitting in front of my neck, and it just gets in the way. And because I am sort of craning my head to make sure that I can see what I'm doing, I don't realize a lot of the time when I have moved my knitting or whatever I'm working on out of shot so that I can see it. But then, yeah, the camera can't see it, but I can see it, or the camera can see it and I can't see it very well. I mean, it's a really handy little device. I just have to, be really mindful of those things when I'm using it. But the other thing as well is that because I am wearing it, it moves with my body. Body, yoddy, yoddy. And I don't think it's like the nicest thing to watch a camera shaking around all of the time. Sometimes when I film with it, I try to hold my breath if it's just going to be a short thing that I'm filming. And obviously I can't hold my breath for a really long period of time. But I kind of I don't like it when the camera moves with my breath, and it's just like going up and then down and then up and then down. I just think it's an odd thing. But maybe you don't even notice, or maybe you don't mind. You probably don't even notice, really. You're probably looking at your own crafting most of the time when you're watching these kinds of videos. Just another quick thing that I wanted to mention on this knitting with two circulars method. So obviously my right hand, the needle that I'm doing the knitting with is the size that I am actually wanting to use, and because I only have one set of tips in this length and size, the other end of each circular needle I usually chuck in a smaller size. You obviously don't want bigger, because then it's not really, you're gonna like awkwardly stretch out your stitches, and they'll be too tight, they won't really fit properly because you're knitting with a smaller needle. But I use, you use the smaller one because it just slides through really easy, and because it's smaller, it gives you a bit more room here when you're picking up the stitches, which is really handy. But sometimes if I use a size that's really close, like if it's just one size down from the size that I'm doing the knitting with, then if I'm not paying attention, sometimes I'll realize that I've started knitting with the wrong end, which is of course going to affect your gauge, and that isn't really something that anyone wants to happen unless you're doing it intentionally for some reason. So I either try to remember to use a size that is much smaller so that it's really obvious that I'm going to so that it's really obvious if I pick up the wrong size and I don't start knitting with it. Or, as I've done today, I've actually chucked in a different brand. So these ones that I'm knitting with at the moment are the Knit Pro. I'm pretty sure they're Knit Picks 4 square interchangeables, and they are my favorite needles. I have both the short tips and the long tips, the full set of interchangeables. But just out of curiosity, I did buy some random Luca tips in various sizes that I thought that I use more often just in case I need them, and I have found that really handy to have on hand as well when I'm doing this 2 circulars method. So not only is the tip on the other end of my needle smaller, but it looks completely different from the tip that I am working with, so there is zero chance that I'm going to pick up the wrong needles and start knitting with them. So there's a handy little tip for you if you need it. Just makes knitting in small circumferences really easy. And now that I think about it, this has only just occurred to me, but I'm kind of surprised in a way that it took me so long to start working on 2 circulars again, because my favorite needles for knitting socks are the Addi Crazy Trios, the Addi Crazy Trio needles, and they're sort of more similar to working like this, are they? Well, okay, so I'm working with 2 needles, right? And I also have a set of sock DPNs, and when I'm using those, I am working with 5 needles. So if the Addi Crazy Trio is working with 3 needles, I guess it's kind of in between working with 2 circs and working with DPNs. So maybe that's an irrelevant thought. I want to give a shout out to Jenny while I am crafting. Jenny, I hope your tiny scarf project is going well. She commented and said that she's been enjoying knitting and chatting with me, which is so lovely, because that is exactly the intent of these videos, to feel like we are just like crafting away together, whatever those crafts may be. When I was unraveling this yarn, I started off by winding it onto one of my really thick crochet hooks, which I like using as a kind of like noster pin when I am winding just small amounts of yarn. They work really well for that, and I kind of don't actually really use them for anything else. I like buying the thick wooden crochet hooks more because I think they're pretty than anything else. This is the thickest one that I own, and I have never used it. It would be great to one day, but I haven't needed to yet. But I like winding off on them. It makes it feel like they are getting some use and they're not just purely aesthetic, but of course there is nothing wrong with them just being purely aesthetic. But I realized when I started winding that once I took it off that, I was probably just going to chuck it onto my yarn butler. So why not just wind it around my yarn butler? The yarn butler that I am using is actually the Lazy Kate from Electric Eel Wheel Dreaming Robots, and it is pretty handy that you can just remove that stick bit, I don't know what you call it, and wind yarn directly onto it, and then you pop it onto the bit that spins around, and it's just really super easy. They have come out with updated versions of that Lazy Kate / yarn butler since I bought mine, but I don't really feel the need to upgrade because I have been perfectly happy with mine. There are some features on the newer ones like magnets and whatnot that look handy, but if I haven't felt the need, if I haven't felt the lack, then why spend? Another benefit of me knitting this in reverse stockinette instead of garter is that I won't have that seam that I had. You know, because when you're working garter in the round, you kind of end up with a jog, just because of how knitting works in spirals. Now, I am only planning to knit one cuff with you because I am sure that that will be long enough already. But it would be nice to get the other cuff today. I don't actually wear this jacket that often because I feel like it needs, I feel like it only has like a small window of weather that for me it works for, because it is in a thicker yarn. I don't know if the Bendigo Woolen Mills 10 ply is considered a worsted or an Aran weight. Let's just call it a worsted weight. Because it is in a worsted weight yarn, it's quite warm, but at the same time, because it is open in front and doesn't have any closures and can let in some air, it can also be quite cool. Which just doesn't make sense. I am just having a look at this and I am feeling like it's still really short, and I don't have that much yarn left, and I'm wondering if actually oh my goodness, I feel like I should actually reduce the number of stitches I'm working even more. Where's the other sleeve? Yeah, I think that's what I did when I did the garter stitch. I think I did some decreases. I wonder if I used bigger needles as well. Maybe this is just a futile endeavor because I only have such a limited amount of yarn that I can work with. It can only go so far, really. Oh yeah, look, that looks huge. Alright. I'm gonna do some decreases. Friends, I had to do some things there that I was not happy about. I had to cut a ply in one spot and I had to basically unply all of this because, where's my other needle? Right in front of me. Because I think this is terrible. I'm still going to use it because I need every last bit of yarn. Oh, this is bad. I think what had happened is when I wove in the end of the blue yarn, I must have split some of the strands. I must have woven it in through the strands of the maroon yarn. I'm just doing this first row in knit stitches instead of purl stitches for reverse stockinette, just so that I don't get purl bumps of the opposite colors showing through. And it's also a little bit, just makes it a bit easier to reorient all of these stitches that I've picked up the wrong way around, just because it's easier. I hope you can hear me over the rain. Friends, I am such a dope. After all of my talk about my tips and tricks for making sure that I wasn't using the wrong end of this two circular setup that I've got going and knitting with the wrong size, what do? I go and knit with the wrong size, and I nearly did it twice. Too focused on one aspect to pay attention to other aspects of this knit. And now, because I have done those decreases, it is actually short to be working. It's too short to be working in the round, so I've sort of split, it's like magic loop. I've split it into two halves. Ooh, reverse stockinette, not stockinette. Goodness, hopeless. Yeah, I'm still working two circulars, but I've just split it up into two halves. So each half will only be worked with the circular needle for that particular half. And I don't know how much battery I have left in my camera, aka my phone. So if that dies, then I guess I will just have to say that's that and show you the end result. Before I open the advents. Working two circulars this way, I feel like if I knew this was what I was doing going into it, I feel like I would have gotten longer cables, not super long, but just slightly longer, just to make this a little bit more comfortable to work. But it should be fine. Totally fine. What's everyone's plans for the weekend? I have big plans tonight. I am going to see Lady Gaga, which I'm very, very excited about. I have to say that I don't listen to the radio, so I don't know any of her new music that she may have out. But she has so many older songs that I do know, so hopefully she plays quite a few of those. I assume that when artists go on tour, it's usually for a new album that they've released. So I'm guessing that that is the case, and that there will be a lot of songs that she plays that I don't know. But I think, even if I didn't know anything, I think it's just going to be a really fun concert. I think she will be a great entertainer, and I just expect it to be lots and lots of fun. I am going with high school friends who are actually still two of my closest friends, even though that was quite a while ago. I found it harder to retain friendships as an adult. Like, I have made friends since leaving high school, obviously, but I just don't really, like, I don't keep in touch with any of them in the same way that I keep in touch with my high school friends. These particular high school friends. One of them is my best friend, and I don't know why that is. I think it's easier to make friends in a school situation because you spend so much more of your time with them. You're spending 5 days a week, pretty much your whole day with these people. And it's not... Oh, well, actually, that's not really true. If you work in an office, which I have done in my life, then it is that same situation, I guess, where you spend that amount of time with people. But I don't know, those friendships just haven't stuck as much, or they're not as strong as those couple of relationships that I formed when I was younger. Nothing wrong with that. I am not complaining at all. I love my friends. I don't have a problem with my friends. Of course I don't have a problem with my friends. But a lot of my friends, well, not a lot, but enough of them are elsewhere as well. Of the ones that I keep in touch with aren't in Melbourne. I don't have a lot of, good friends, really. Again, not complaining, that's just how I am and how it is, and I'm perfectly happy with that. But it is tricky. One of them is in San Francisco, one of them is Western Australia, and until a couple of years ago, my bestie was living in Sydney. So I felt like there weren't a lot of people that I could catch up with in person. There are more than that, sort of, but still really, really casual. And my partner's actually in the same boat. It's because, well, it's not because of this, but it is a pretty big factor of it. But a lot of his friends are overseas as well, and I'd say that has a lot to do with the fact that we lived in San Francisco for a couple of years, and he made some really good friends there, and then we came back to Australia, and while he still has Aussie friends, he has more that are now overseas. I think because he is a gamer, though, I feel like he definitely catches up with friends a lot more often than I do, just because they play games online together and they're communicating that way. For me, with my friend in San Francisco, hi Jen, I don't think she watches, but hi Jen, We mainly just communicate by sending each other the odd message here and there on Instagram. Just mailed off a Christmas card to her as well, actually. Well, I mailed off all my Christmas cards yesterday, but she is the only one I need to get an international stamp for. Can't see what notifications my computer is giving me. I'm hoping it's nothing to do with this recording. I have a feeling it's saying that like there are issues with the microphone or something like that, which won't be great. And I won't know until I edit, and by then it will be too late to fix things. If I was smart, I would pause here and check the video and check what those notifications are, but they have stopped, so hopefully it's just a normal notification and not like a technical issue. That's really boring for you to hear me talk about. Have any of you seen Lady Gaga in concert, or are you going to the concerts? Are you in Melbourne to see the concerts? Will I see you there? Oh, I found out the other day as well that a couple of my cousins will be at this same concert. Actually, that's not exactly true. I found out that one of them will be at this concert, and her brother, my other cousin, and well, another cousin, is also going to Lady Gaga, but I don't know which night he was going. He may have gone last night. I don't know what other nights. I don't know how many nights she's here for. But my partner was telling me that he's been seeing in the news about crazy queues, and it just seems like it's going to be chaotic over there in the city. But that's kind of what I expect anyway, going into a big concert like this. You expect crowds and chaos. Last time I went to a concert, that was when I got COVID for the very, very first time. I, of course, don't know for sure if I got it from the concert itself. I just feel like it's highly likely. I just feel like that's the most likely scenario that I was in the days prior to coming down with symptoms. And I was so happy that we had avoided COVID all this time, but I caught it, and then because we didn't know straight away, my partner caught it off me, and it was not fun. Luckily, we didn't have it badly enough that we needed to go to hospital or anything like that. We just stayed home and rested a lot. But it wasn't fun. But my point to all of this was to say that, what was it? Let me have a sip of coffee, and then I can remember my point. I'm just drinking mochas because I've been too lazy to make myself the ginger syrup. But I should go out and buy some ginger because I really do prefer it. Anyway, what was my point? My point was, I think, because I'm now paranoid that I will catch it again, or just catch anything at the concert tonight, just because, you know, there's going to be so many people all crowded in together, and I don't want to get sick. Even though it's not really going to be fun, I'm probably going to wear a mask. It's tricky in situations like that though, because the concert starts at 7:30, I think, but you want to get there a bit early. You want to see the pre-shows. You want to I like to to get a bit of merch if I can. If there's a mug, that would be cool. I seem to like collecting mugs. When I went to Coldplay, they didn't have mugs, but I got a bag, a tote bag. I like things that are useful, or yeah, like functional items like that more than clothes. Plus the clothes are a lot more expensive. Anyway, I keep getting sidetracked from my point. No, I did make my point. I don't want to get sick. My new point. I had another point. Dinner. That's what I'm trying to talk about. Okay. Yes, so wearing a mask at the concert. There will come a point where I will have to take it off because A, I'll need to have a drink of water. Throughout the night, I'll need to be drinking something. But also, I need to have dinner there. The last concert that I went to, there weren't pass outs, and I wouldn't really want to leave once the show has started. But I will need to have dinner. I could have it early before the show, but I don't want to risk being late to the show. And actually, my partner and I really do have dinner quite early. It's because of winter, mainly, because it gets dark so early, so we just got so used to having dinners early then. And now, even though the sun is out longer, we're just used to eating dinner early. So I could potentially have dinner well before the show. I don't know I don't know what the plan yet is with my friends. I need to confirm that. One of them will be a little bit late to the concert because she is coming from a work Christmas party. But I'm also a bit worried that she's just not going to make it at all because she sent a message this morning saying that one of her little ones has croup and high fevers. So I don't know if she will feel like she ought to stay home and help her husband look after the kids, or if she will feel like she should stay home because she may be carrying germs. Or, maybe like I'd be worried that she'd get sick as well. Anyway, so I don't know what she's doing. And we wouldn't have had dinner with her anyway unless she was going to eat at the concert. But the other one, I don't know what her plans are either. She's actually, there's going to be a bunch of her other friends going. I think they're all going to the concert. She has like a big group of friends, a big group of high school friends that she's a part of. And me and my bestie, while we're friendly with that group, we're not part of that group. And it's the really lovely thing about that group of friends is they do a thing once a year, I think it is, where they will have like a girls' night out, which is really lovely. They'll like stay somewhere in the city all together and just go out and catch up and have fun. And that just happened to fall this year for them on the same night as Lady Gaga. So she may also just be doing things with them, which is of course totally fine. It means I can have my early dinner. Look how small this cuff is. Going to be pretty snug, but I think I like fitted cuffs anyway. I think they're quite comfortable. That is the one thing about the flared pullover that I made, which is a design by Nora Gorn. It's one of my favorite jumpers. I mean, I feel like all of the jumpers that I've made for myself are one of my favorite jumpers. But anyway, the main thing that I don't like about wearing it is that it's like the style of the jumper is loose and baggy, and therefore the sleeves are loose and baggy, but I kind of wish it had just a more fitted cuff even. I don't mind a balloon sleeve, but I just think that the fitted cuff, well, for one thing, it would stop cold air traveling into the sleeve and making me cold. But I think fitted cuffs are just more comfortable. I have thought of tightening the cuff. At first I thought of doing what I'm doing now and re-knitting the cuff, but because... Was that one a top down or bottom up? I can't actually remember. I have a feeling it was bottom up. So it's not as easy as this. This was knit top down. So it's a lot easier to just unravel the bind off and tink back a bit and re-knit it. But when it's bottom up, that is trickier. And I could do the thing where I just cut it off and pick up stitches and knit the cuff down. But I'd rather not have to do that. And then I have seen those things as well where you can do like stitching, sewing tricks to tighten up cuffs. So that one has a 2x2 cuff, I think it is. So I think I should be able to do one of those tricks where you kind of just like, you know, cinch some of those rib elements together to tighten up the cuff a bit. And the one that I am thinking of, it is quite decorative and pretty, and that jumper is a cabled design, so it would kind of fit in. Also though, I just don't know if I can be bothered. If it had occurred to me when I was planning out my Vlogmases, I could have done it as one of the days, one of the crafts for one of the days. But I don't actually know now what it would fall into. So this one I am knitting, obviously. It is falling into one of my knitting days, but that one, would it fall under a stitching day? Because with the bag strap that I made, for example, that was a crochet day. It was a knitted object, but the craft that I was doing was crochet. So with that fix that I'm thinking of for the sleeve, it's like hand sewing. So technically it should fall under a stitching day instead of a knitting day. Maybe I will do that, but then if I do that, then I'm never gonna get around to doing any Christmas cross stitches with you, because I keep thinking of other things to do. And really, like, I have been totally fine wearing that jumper with the loose cuffs. I'm probably going to be lazy, to be honest. Like, it clearly hasn't bothered me enough that I thought of it, that I thought of wanting to do it. But this one, like that one, it doesn't bother me every time that I wear it. Whereas this one, every time that I wear this, it bothers me. So I've always known that I've wanted to fix this, whereas with that one, I have ummed and ahed about fixing it. Just realized as well that I'm doing this in reverse stockinette, and I wonder if the bind off that I was going to use will look alright. I'm sure it'll be fine. I can't remember the name of it, but it is a stretchy knitted bind off. It's not Jenny's surprisingly stretchy. I don't actually really like those ones. And the one that I'm doing find a lot easier and quicker to do. I'm getting there, getting towards the end of this ball, this little ball, and it is looking longer. I decreased about a quarter of the stitches away in the first row for this. So yes, it is quite fitted. I think they sort of kind of wanted to dress up for the concert, and one of them has a sequiny dress that she wore for, what was it? Was it her engagement party a million years ago? Well, not a million, she's not that old. She has a really fitted sequiny dress that the other one is borrowing. I don't know what she herself is going to wear. As for me, I don't own any sequiny clothes. I don't really own any sparkly clothes, but the only thing I have that would fit the bill is I have one dress that's like a lace fabric over a like satiny fabric. The satiny fabric is like a hot pink, and the lace bit that goes over it is a black. So it is a little bit bright. It has brightness to it. It has a bit of like shimmer to it. And I'm just going to wear that. And I was also planning on wearing my musical, because of all the metallic thread that I worked into that. That is like sparkly and lovely and colourful and bright, and I love it. But I don't want it to get rained on. It's too precious to get rained on. That's silly. I am glad that today is a bit cooler though, because if it was another what is that notification? Oh, I think it's just telling me that I don't have a lot of battery left. That's fine. What was I saying? Yeah, I'm glad that it's not super hot today, because if it was, I wouldn't bring the musical, because it is wool and it is quite warm. I mean, it's a lace weight shawl, but there's a lot of brioche in it to thicken it up, and it's just wool. It's warm. I am kind of hoping that it will be warm enough that I don't also need to bring a jacket or a cardigan. But just to be on the same side, I probably will bring just a super lightweight hoodie. And a big bag. Or at least a bag big enough that I can stuff in my shawl without the risk of hurting it. Getting there, getting there. I bet I'm going to be totally lazy and not do the other cuff at all, and just have it be watch length. And see if it annoys me that they're different lengths. I hope my battery lasts long enough for me to do the bind off with you. If not though, if it dies before then, I will just tell you. I will look it up what the bind off is. Is it possibly the Icelandic bind off. It's the one where you knit 2 together. Is it through the back loop? You knit 2 together through the back loop, and then you put that stitch back onto the left hand needle and carry on. Knit 2 together, put it back on the left hand needle, knit 2 together, so knit that stitch with the next stitch. And so on and so forth. And of course, once again, this is another one of those projects that I thought was just going to be really quick. And I have made it longer. If I do reknit the watch cuff, depending how fitted this one is, I either will not do as many decreases or I will use even bigger needles, just because if I continue wearing a watch, it'll just make it fit that much tighter around the watch, which I would rather not do. At the moment I am leaning towards just using bigger needles and otherwise making it the same. The problem with that, of course, is that that other cuff will then be a bit, it won't be as long as this because the yarn won't be able to get as far. And then that begs the question of, well, if it's going to be different from this cuff, is it really worth reknitting it? And therefore the lazy person in me wins and says, don't reknit it, it's fine. If it's short, then it's just not gonna get in the way of the watch. Where did I start my round? Just checking, is this the start of my round or is the other side the start of my round? This is the start of my round. Alright, let's see how much we have left. Oops. I feel like I'll be able to knit one more row or maybe even a half row. 1, 2. Let's just go for knitting one more full round, and I will do that silently so that I can speed it up if I need to. It's so dark that I'm actually not sure how much you were able to see it all, but I'm going to bring back the ugly light for binding off. actually wonder, what have I done? I am wondering if I can actually purl two together through the back loop. Slip that on. Yeah, this seems to be working. Easier if I get these last few stitches onto my other needle. Oh, that's quite tight actually. Let's just keep going. Totally not binding off loose enough, but oh well. I was a bit paranoid that I was going to run out of yarn. Really though, I totally could have bound off using bigger needles. I did not count my rows or anything, so if I do reknit the other cuff, which I am seriously leaning towards not doing, then I'm tired. What was I saying? I've literally just forgotten what I was actually saying. Oh, yeah. If I do actually reknit the other cuff, I haven't counted my rows, although I could go back and just count them now, but lazy. Ooh. The yarn is too short for me to tension it. Oh my gosh, I made it. I can't believe I made it, and with that much yarn to spare. What am I doing? I'm just going to pull it through. Come on. It's curling in. done. Dear oh dear, I have come here to edit the video and somehow I have completely recorded this last segment without any audio. Basically here I am just showing you that I finished the cuff and the difference between the two. The new cuff doesn't look that much longer than the original garter stitch cuff, but that is because it is rolling down due to the nature of stockinette and reversed stockinette. But ultimately it is longer and I am much happier with how it fits and how it feels when I am wearing it. I still think at this point in time I probably will be lazy and not reknit the other cuff. But who knows? Now I am pulling out all of the cards, the inspiration cards for the Advent. So the first one I pulled out is showing a jaguar, which was the inspiration for this first stitch marker. And I'm speculating if it's actually going to be in a matching style where it's a laser cut piece made out of timber. And I was so excited when I opened it up. I'm showing that, again, the original Jaguar was wooden laser cut, and the new Jaguar is, dun, da, 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 it's a row counter, which I really, really love and am excited about. I always feel like I can never find my row counters when I need them. So it's really excellent to have another one. I did have the one from EleventyOne Windmills' Advent last year, and I am currently using it for a project, and I am super happy to be adding another one to my notions bag. I'm showing here that it is a little bit stiff to turn the numbers, but I found with last year's one that it just needed a few initial turns to sort of loosen it up, and then it works completely fine. And I love how it looks. It's fantastic. Next up is the inspiration card for the stitch marker that is to accompany the yarn. So it was macaw is what I said, and it is this lovely little bird, which I showed you the back of first accidentally, but it is a macaw in flight in those beautiful colors, blue and yellow, to match the bird itself. Here are the yarns from the previous 2 days' Advents, just to remind you what they look like before I pull out today's one, and the inspiration card is a chameleon. I'm talking about how I'm hoping that it will be green because the card itself is green, but because it's a chameleon, it could honestly be any color. But I'm hoping for a green, let's be honest, even though all of the fluff and nonsense ones are green. I can never have enough green, and this was such a gorgeous, gorgeous, beautiful shades of green, really. A beautiful, like, rich, vibrant, variegated green, which I absolutely love. Here it is with the previous days. And of course, these aren't going to all completely match up or graduate because they are coming from different dyers. So, they're not all working together, they're working independently, but I still think they all look really beautiful together. And I'm saying that I can't pick a favorite because they are all absolutely lovely. And was that everything that I had left? I don't know what else I'm saying about this green. Oh, I'm telling you that this mini is dyed by Natural Fiber Arts. And that's pretty much all that I have to share. Thank you so much for joining me for this Vlogmas, and sorry that it is a bit of a mess. The audio while I was knitting wasn't great either. I think the microphone on my phone is giving out a little bit, so we'll see if I continue to use it. Anyway, I will leave you there and I will see you tomorrow. Have a lovely night.